working on a 10-foot credenza that had some clients come over to take a peek at it and kind of buy off on the finish and the color and all these kind of things. And took a good chunk of my day. And I'm having to wet sand and polish the entire top of this thing. And it worked out pretty good. It looks really nice. It's a beautiful piece, got brass all over the shelves on the inside of it. It's really cool looking, and I will show you guys, I'm sure, at some point. But yeah, dope piece. So anyway, talk for today is we're gonna talk a little bit about this this H1B visa thing. So I think I'm a great person to talk about this. My wife is from India, right? Her whole family's from India. And anyway, the H1B visa thing is kind of interesting. I don't think that it's going to do what people think it's going to do. I don't think the intention of why Trump put this $100,000 price on it is what everyone thinks it is, right? There's a lot more to it, and the real issue, and you guys know this in my talks, I've talked about just how Americans don't do anything. Like we're not the best when it comes to being great at stuff. We're good at creating things, and we're good at starting businesses and being innovative and stuff like that. But for a long time, I've seen it, and especially in my field of just like the trades, right? Welding, furniture making, carpentry, things like that. There are not a lot of people doing this work, and it's been that way. It's been really bad for a long time, and we're starting to see a little bit of a resurgence of that, which is cool. But now it's kind of in vogue to be a tradesperson, right? It's a little bit in vogue to be someone who works with their hands. It hasn't been for about 30 years at this point. In fact, we were all basically taught that we were losers, and if we didn't go to college, that we were never going to amount to anything, and that everyone was basically just going to make fun of us. And the truth is that that isn't what happened, you know. So anyway, yeah. So we're gonna talk about. So I'm gonna read you a couple things here, and we're gonna get this conversation underway. And like I said, my perspective is very different. Again, as someone who's married to a person from India, their whole family's from India, lots of interactions with this whole situation. I import hardware from India. A lot of interactions with this stuff. I know IT very well. My wife's ex-husband is in IT. Her brother's in IT. Like, IT is a big thing, and we need to talk about why these people do this job, right? And the uncomfortable reality of the whole situation is that Americans don't want to work. Too many people, I think, just essentially believe that they are entitled to a wage by virtue of being an American. They're entitled to a job. They're entitled to many things. And the truth is that the best example I can think of what we have going on in America right now is the federal government, right? So the largest employer in the world is actually the federal government, damn near 3 million people. And the truth is that most of these people, guys, are as mediocre as it gets. And I'm not throwing shade on them personally, but what I'm saying is if you work for the federal government, you don't have to compete with anybody. You know, there's nobody trying to take your spot, right? There's nobody trying to make a better product or a better widget than you, and you got none of that going on. You know, so it's a major problem when we let so many people go to work for this institution which has no competition. Right? So when you do a job or you perform a function that has no competition, you therefore, just by virtue of not having that, are mediocre. You're mediocre at best. You don't have to work to get better. And this is, I mean, we know this, guys. Iron hardens iron, right? It's very, very obvious. And you need to get around people that are badasses if you want to be a badass. And anyway, when we let so many people work for the federal government, you guys have all seen, I think we've all seen it at this point. The people that work at like the post office, the DMV, any of these places that we kind of all go to, like you kind of tell what's going on, you know, and it's basically, instead of doing welfare, we got a bunch of people in these departments that are just doing this bullshit work, right? They're bullshit jobs. And it's basically a form of welfare disguised as a job. And like I said, the post office is the worst one that I could possibly think of. But you've got people that are making above average wages to do a mediocre job. They have the best benefits. And again, I'm not throwing shade on these people. I'm just saying that they don't have any competition. And when you don't have any competition, you are not going to get good at what you do, right? And again, it's a major problem, you know. So what do we do with this H1B visa thing, right? So what's 100 grand, I think? Let's see what this says. So it says here, U.S. imposes a $100,000 application fee on H1B visas. Indians currently make up 71% of new H1B visa beneficiaries. So this fee would hit Indian professionals hardest. India got 191,000 H1B visas in 2023, rising to 2,007 in year 2024, right? So the reason that these people come over here, a lot of people will, again, this is, I'm not trying to throw shade on Americans. I'm not trying to be super negative about it, but the truth is that everybody talks about how people are coming in and taking their jobs, right? People are driving down wages. It's always somebody else's fault. And what I'm here to tell you guys is that the reason Indians come in here and do these jobs is because they're better at it. They like the work. We got too many people today that just don't want to do that work. And they don't want to build houses. They don't want to do IT work. What they do want to do is work at the DMV, right? Making fat bank. And then if anybody gives you shit about your terrible job, you basically just boot them out, even though you pay their salary. So things like that, same with the post office. Like the post office, I literally drive an extra 5 miles to not have to go to the post office so that I can go up to UPS, right? And this is the thing. When you have something like FedEx and UPS, truthfully, the Postal Service should have went out of business 20 years ago. Like it's a terrible place. But what it is it's welfare for a lot of these people. And it gives them jobs because they don't have real skills. And I see this as a manufacturer. I see this as a guy that owns a furniture company. I see how many people do not want to learn new skills. They do not want to learn a craft. They do not want to learn something that's going to make them money. What they want is a job that they can earn a wage and that they can then go home. And I'm here to tell you guys, that doesn't work anymore. It hasn't worked in a long time. And who really wants to be just a mediocre person? Like I can't wrap my head around that, but that's what we have a lot of going on today, okay? These Indians and these people that come in on H1B visas, they're killers, right? And I'm gonna talk to you about the culture in India and why they're here, because it's really important. And again, as someone who's married to an Indian, whole family's Indian, I can explain a lot of this stuff, I think in a decent way. And again, I'm just some dumb guy, from Oregon, but I do own a furniture company. I figured out how to make this thing work, and with the help of my wife, and we got a great little business here in St. Louis, Missouri. So anyway, my name's Eric Wilkin. I own the Splendid Crow here in St. Louis, Missouri. We are a fine furniture boutique company. We do about 500 pieces a year. We are known for our high gloss lacquer coating. We make a lot of custom furniture. We ship it all over America. At our business, we're just a small 7-figure business, but we have a lot of logistics work. We got a lot of assembly work, a lot of sanding work, a lot of painting work, fabrication, marketing, all these kind of things, advertising. There's a lot that it takes to make this business run. And so when you have to do all those things, you have to kind of be a jack of all trades, master of none, as they say, because it's just impossible to be the best at anything. You just got to kind of learn to figure out all this shit until you can hire other people for it, but you gotta have the revenue, right? And getting that revenue is really tricky. But anyway, so we're gonna, let's dig into this topic. I'm gonna say hi to some people, and then we're gonna dig into this thing. I got a quote here that I wanna run. I'm gonna quote somebody else. I got a quote here I wanna read you guys. It's very telling about the situation that we're in here in America. And again, everyone bitches about the H1Bs and everyone bitches about the Hispanics coming in. And the truth is that you guys gave the jobs away. You didn't want to learn the skills. And so other countries literally have entire industries dedicated to getting people to come to America, right? Same thing in Mexico. They have ways to come to America, and America wants everybody. We want all these people, not because they're foreign or because they're cheap. We want them because they want to work. They want to learn skills. And this is, again, I lose a lot of people when I say this to them, but the truth is that most of us don't really want to learn anything new. We just want to do the old thing that we've always done. And I'll tell you guys a great example of this. There's a movie called The Factory. Go watch it on Netflix right now. I think Barack Obama actually was a producer in it. And it's basically what it is. It's about this old car company in like Detroit, Michigan, one of those places up there. And this Chinese company came in, bought the factory, right? Because the factory had closed down. All these people lost their jobs. These guys bought this factory. They turned it into a glass company, right? So they were making automotive glass now. Well, they brought in all these Chinese people to come in and train the Americans on how to make glass. Well, the thing that they noticed, and again, this movie might be 20 years old at this point, but what they noticed was that Americans were really fucking lazy, like really bad. And again, people don't like it when I say that kind of stuff, but this is, again, these are people from another country. And granted, these people live a completely different life. They're a completely different situation, but their life is about excellence. Their life is about their career, right? Their life is about doing great things so they can pay for their family. They can send money home, and all they want to do is be the best at what they do. And that's what we're competing with, guys. And as a dummy who never graduated high school, I see it every day for people who have also probably never graduated high school. I see it from high school graduates. I see it from college graduates. I look at resumes. I mean, I don't know how many freaking resumes I've looked at over the years, but people are just ill-equipped to do what is necessary to make it in America today, to make it in the world where everybody wants your shit, right? Like, America is the place. Everybody wants to be here. In all these countries, that's the thing. Like, how many of you guys understand that there's an entire ecosystem in these countries that are basically just grooming people to come to America, right? Like, we don't understand that. Like, we don't have an industry here in America that just basically grooms people to move to Singapore or grooms people to move to China. Like, it's not like that. We don't have that. We can't possibly wrap our heads around that. And it's it's really frustrating when I hear people just constantly complain about illegals and complain about the H1B visas. So let's say hi to people real quick, and then we'll go over. We'll read this quote real quick, and then we'll continue the conversation. This will be a good one tonight, because again, I've got a lot of knowledge in this space. Okay, what do we got here? Boy, we got someone who's posted a lot of the same stuff. Okay, so let's see. Good evening to everyone. So we got Miss Molly's in here. Miss Molly, good to see you. See, Valerio is in here. Great name. Massage therapist. Ooh, baby. Okay, see, we got, see, Jaleesa's in here. Medina, good to see you. And Andromeda's in here, and lots of messages. Again, guys, hit the like button, add the discussion, and again, you can put all your goofball comments in here. I don't mind one bit. Just add the discussion if you can. Like, it's all good. So, Son's in here. Son, good to see you, dude. See, Stacy, is it Pacheco? Good to see you. See, Crypto74 is here. See, click on it, paste in the... Okay, yeah, not sure what you got going on there, but Crypto74, great. Glad you're here. Hit the like button, add the discussion, and we'll hang out. So, Stacy, again, I see you again. Say it hi. Good. Glad to hear about it. Okay, so let's read this quote real quick. And this perfectly encapsulates what I feel as an American with our workforce today and the caliber of people that we have entering the workforce today, okay? So here's what it says. It says, if Trump thinks that this policy is going to create jobs for Americans, he is wrong, right? U.S. companies don't hire them because many are underqualified for high school roles, lack of specialized knowledge, resist relocation, are too much into pointless activism, or fail to meet global work ethic and productivity standards, okay? The fee won't change that, right? This is the thing that I've been talking about for well over a year at this point. And I don't know, again, as someone who's constantly trying to train people, like my goal in life right now is to make people furniture makers, to make people cabinet makers, to give people a skill that AI will not be able to outsource, right? Again, I never graduated high school. I've always made furniture. I've always had a cabinet making job. I've always been making things for people. These jobs never go out of style. Are they great on Instagram? Are you gonna make a shit ton of money? Probably not. But guess what? You're always going to own a home. You're always going to have a car. Your kids are going to go to school. You'll always have insurance. Whatever it is you want, you will have, right? But if you're one of these people that just bounces around from job to job to job and never fucking learns anything, or the things that you learn, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 million other people know those same things, you're never going to get ahead, right? And it's the same thing with college, guys. Everybody was told to go to college. Now we got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 million people with the same degree, the same education, right? The same experience, the same point of view, and it has not worked out well for them. And again, it's not gonna work out for anybody else here if we don't fix this problem we have with people not wanting to get good at things. Like, there's so many people today, they just want a fucking job. And I'm here to tell you guys, that is death. Especially today, when we got so many people that have been coming to this country forever. Like, you think I'm gonna take you, who's got 10 or 12 different jobs on their resume, or I could take this guy who doesn't even have a resume, doesn't speak English, but shows up to work every day, brings his lunch to work every day, doesn't have a shit ton of tattoos, doesn't smell like drugs, doesn't smell like weed, doesn't steal. Like, who do you think I'm gonna hire? You think my American patriotism is gonna make me hire the fuck up versus the person that really wants to work? And this is the thing that we have to talk about, guys. I think it's more important than in anything that's going on right now. It's the lack of training of people. And we see it today. All these people are going into work for the federal government. It's happened over years, and you're seeing that Trump finally started cutting and hacking and slashing at all these departments, okay? These are people that don't have real jobs. No one that works in the government does a real job. And I'm painting with a broad brush there. I'm sure there's plenty of people that do great things in the federal government, okay? But what I'm telling you is, when you have no competition, right, and the taxpayer foots the bill for your salary, you are not going to be as effective. You're not going to be as productive. Your costs are not going to be in line with whatever reality is out in the marketplace, and therefore the taxpayer ends up picking up the tab, right? Or we don't hire you because you're a fuck up, right? We don't hire you. You don't have any real skills. You just go from job to job to job to job, and then you're on welfare, right? So if you don't work for the federal government, then you're on welfare forever, right? Whether it's SNAP, whether it's Section 8, Medicaid, all these things that we're paying for people. Basically, we're paying for all these people no matter what, right? But the H1B visas aren't the problem. The illegal immigrants, the people coming into this country who technically are breaking the law as soon as they get here, right? They're not the problem. They broke the law, but guess what? They show up to work every day, right? They make fantastic money because, again, nobody cares about your immigration status, right? Nobody cares about whether or not you're an H1B visa or a legal immigrant or an illegal. They just want to know that you're going to come fucking work and you can do something. You have a skill that is tangible that will create revenue so that I can keep employing you, right? This is how the thing works. And guess what, guys? If you do it long enough, right, you spend 5, 10, 20 years even, that took me 20 years, but if you spend enough time, you get so good at it, you can do it for yourself. You don't have to work for somebody else. And maybe you do it in 5 years. There's plenty of people that can do this, but you have to fucking do something. And what I see today is just a disaster in resumes, a freaking disaster. You know, most people, they hold a job for 6 months. 6 months is probably the average, right? And then the next year, you're looking at like a year. Like, it's really bad, guys. You know, so the H-1B visa worker isn't our problem, right? Let's see, let's read this real quick. Fail to meet global work standards, okay? Global work ethics, right? And this is the thing. America used to be the shining city on the hill, right? We were Shangri-La. We had the best of everything. We had the best workers. We had the best products. We had the best homes, the best land. We had these great oceans, the best military. We had the best of everything. And we gave it all away, guys. We fucking gave it up, you know? And again, that brings in the conversation about capitalism, you know, monopolistic capitalism, the thing we have kind of going on today. That's a completely separate discussion, but it's also part of the problem. I'm completely aware of it. But the issue for us is that we no longer work well. We don't do the work very well at all. You know, and the people that own the large corporations, they got tired of fucking with you and they sent all your jobs overseas, right? And I talk about this all the time. They did it for profit, don't get me wrong. They did it, you know, so they could get their shareholders, you know, to get a higher dividend. Meanwhile, you got no job, right? But had you been really good at what you did, had you not commanded, you know, such a high wage, had the cost of medications not going up because everyone got super sick all the time, if there was more competition in the medical industry, things wouldn't be as expensive as they are. You know, but we are where we are. So what do? You know, it's like, how do we fix this problem? I don't have the perfect solution to this thing, but I think what really needs to happen is what I've been talking about forever. We have got to train people. And I say it, I mean, more often now than I think I used to, is that we need a public-private partnership where small business owners, medium business owners, hell, even large businesses, okay, they take these people that have no skills, right? That hop from job to job to job, the ones that can't fucking show up on time, they can't get off the drugs, they got face tattoos, you know, they got family drama all the time, they can't stay off the phone. Everybody knows who I'm talking about, right? These are the people that are in the fucking movie theaters talking and texting while we're all trying to watch a movie. These are people that have no respect for society. They do not know how to operate in polite society, okay? We need a public-private partnership where the business essentially gets a tax break on its revenues, right? Doesn't pay taxes on certain things while they employ people, right? I'm gonna train you, but because you are such a problem, right, with your 12 fucking jobs in 4 years, okay, you're such a problem, we're gonna try and train you, but the federal government has to give us something in return. Otherwise, we're just gonna continue to bring in H-1B visas, right? We're gonna continue to hire immigrants, right? We're not gonna hire Americans because Americans are the problem. You know, and again, not a very popular thing to say, and I know everybody thinks that they're the exception, okay? But I'm here to tell you guys, I've done this long enough, this is my reality. You know, it just, and again, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm, you know, you could call me racist, you call me whatever you want. This is what I see, right? So until we get a little bit of an incentive to hire Americans, a lot of us aren't gonna do it. You know, especially when it comes to like the stuff that I do. Like what I do is dirty work. Everything we make here is hand built. The furniture, it's all handmade. I don't outsource it overseas. I'm not Restoration Hardware, right? I'm fucking making everything in Vietnam. I've done a hellacious talk on Restoration Hardware, on Pottery Barn, on all these companies that make all their shit overseas, right? I'm the guy that wants to teach you how to make furniture so you can have a furniture company for yourself, right? These guys say, hey, I don't want you to work for me. In fact, I don't give a fuck about you. I'm gonna outsource all the work that you would do over to another country, and I'm gonna give the money to people who already have money. I'm gonna give all the excess profits that I have. Instead of training people to do this work, I'm just gonna give it to people that already have excess money. They don't even fucking need the money, right? To them, it's just it's a rounding error on their balance sheet, right? They've got so much money, you know, and we've got to fix what it is that we do in America when it comes to work. We've got to be better. And again, this is, I'm 46 years old, it's the only skill I had was that I showed up every day, I volunteered for everything, I took on every project, you know, and it takes all kinds of people to make the world go round. I'm not saying you got to do that, but half of making it in America today is just showing up. show up 5 days in a row. You know, if you can't show up 5 days in a row, you get moved down a peg, and you do that for a couple of weeks and you're gone. And that's what happens to a lot of these people. You know, they got family drama, they got car drama, they got kid drama, they got, you know, whatever, they fucking overslept, their cell phone got turned off. Like I've heard it all at this point. And I don't know what we do to get these people basically trained up to compete with the rest of the world. Because yeah, a company would rather spend $100,000 on an H1B visa than hire an American. Like the math doesn't math anymore. And it's a shame. And this is stuff that I talk about. It's not always super popular with people, but this is what I see. Now there are tons of people that are fantastic craftspeople, fantastic employees. They're all over the place, you know, but we need to help the people that can't do this, that cannot help themselves. And until we do that, again, companies are just going to outsource all the jobs. They're going to bring in the H1B visas. $100,000 to a massive corporation ain't shit. Okay. They're going to continue to hire illegal immigrants, first-generation immigrants, anybody but an American, right? And that's exactly what this says. You have to meet global work ethic and productivity standards. Work ethic is a big problem today, guys. You know how many people I've hired? Like they show up first day, man. They're live streaming on their phone while they're at work. You know, can't show up 5 days in a row at the same time. You know, or even around the same time. You know, come in not ready to work. You know, the first thing they do when they come in is clock in, go eat breakfast. You know, new employees. You know, little things like that. You know, looking people in the eye, shaking hands. There's a myriad of things we got to work on, and if we don't do that, we're going to end up with everything being outsourced, right? Every worker is going to be an immigrant worker, and we're in trouble. You know, so that's kind of what I want to talk about today. So let's go through a few more comments here. All right, we got who's this? Jai, great name, man. Sherry Ram. Okay, short answer. Americans, young graduates, cannot endure and preserve such laborious jobs with exasperating long hours. Okay, and again, I completely disagree. So I'm 46 years old. I worked 60 to 70 hours a week for 20 years. You know, that's why I was able to afford famous houses, and I always had nice cars, you know, because I worked shit tons of overtime in aviation, and it was fine. It made me so much better at what I did, because instead of working 40 hours a week like every other, you know, Tom, Dick, and Harry, I was working 60 hours a week, which means you get better at what you do 50% faster. You know, it just does. And again, some people say, well, but you're doing the same thing. You know, you said laborious jobs. Okay, there's a lot of jobs that aren't laborious, right? But if you're a fucking teller at, you know, at a restaurant, you know, or you're back there cooking the same 12 things for 20 years, yeah, that's a shitty job. That sucks. You know, you're not supposed to do that forever. And that's a whole other discussion, right? This idea that we're just supposed to do the same thing over and over again, and working longer hours is somehow a bad thing. You know, volunteering for projects, the boss needs you to do something, you know, that used to be a good thing. I don't know why it's not a good thing anymore. You know, if you work for a boss who doesn't appreciate when you work overtime or doesn't appreciate when you volunteer for extra projects, then go find another fucking job. You know, I don't know what the problem is. Again, never had a problem finding a job. I've never been laid off, not during 9/11, not during great financial recession. It just never happened. Never happened. You know, and I think people can do this, but you got to be good at what you do, guys. And this is the thing that just, I see it every day. And I'm here to tell you guys that when we hire people and those people come in, within a month, we know whether or not they're going to hang with the environment or the culture of our business, right? We know what's going to happen there. Within 3 months, we know whether or not that employee is going to make it. You know, whether or not they're going to be with us for short term, for the long term. And I've got, 6 key employees right now. They've all been with me for at least 5 or 6 years at this point. And again, our company's 8 years old at this point, you know, so that's a good sign. That means that we care about our people. We keep our people. Literally today, I had another guy who wants to come back to work for me, right? He took another job because it was slow where we were at, and he went and worked for them for a while and doesn't like it over there, doesn't want to work, basically be a machine operator. He wants to be a furniture maker, and he's a really good furniture maker, and now he's going to come back to work for us. This guy's from Syria, you know, and fantastic craftsperson, shows up every time, as honest as it gets, right? That's a whole other thing, guys. The lack of honesty in our society today is just wild. It's wild. You know, I don't know how many times I've had people steal from me. I've had people, you know, literally just steal vehicles, right? I had people stealing sandpaper for like months at a time. Like, that's crazy. People steal sanders. I mean, you just name it. People steal all kinds of, come in on their own time and make shit, you know, without asking. Yeah, I mean, you name it, like sleep. I had people literally come in and sleep in my factory, like because they have home problems, you know. So it just all kinds of weird shit. I mean, I found fucking condoms in my couches. I mean, all kinds of crazy stuff, guys. And this is the problem with society today. If we don't fix this, all these people, the H1B visas, they're gonna take all your jobs because they have real work ethic. They understand what it means to really work. And again, I implore you guys, go watch that movie, The Factory. It's on Netflix, fantastic movie, and it shows why America is getting crushed. We're getting crushed because we've forgotten how to work. You know, and it's not just about doing a job. There's a myriad of things that go into making an employee a great person, right? It's literally the ability to show up on time. It's literally the ability to want to learn new things, have the capacity to learn new things, to be interested. Being interested should be a class in high school, right? Like figuring out how to be interested in shoemaking, you know, figuring out how to be interested in philosophy. Like it's actually a skill. You have to kind of work it in order to make it work, but you can be interested in things, you know. You never know where your curiosity or your interest is going to take you. And I think people today, they don't want it, you know. And so when I see this stuff about the whole H1B thing, this entire industry in India that sends jobs to America would not exist if Americans could do the work. They don't want to, you know. And the bitch of it is like, we got people that go to college, right? Everyone's told to go to college, get these degrees. And the truth is that the people who went to college, and I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them, they don't even want to fucking work. They just went to college so they didn't have to go to the workforce. And then when they come out of the workforce with their degree, which a million other people have, they really don't want to work. You know, what they want to do is they want to sit in school. They want to do tests. They want to do, you know, whatever, calculus. They don't want to work, right? These are the people that end up working for the federal government, the place where people's souls go to die, you know. The lack of competition with the federal government is just wild, guys. Like, you don't have to get good at anything if the only thing you have to do is just show up every day. If that's all you gotta do, and then if someone even threatens to fire you, you just call it racism, right? Or if they threaten to fire you, you just call sexism, right? You throw out some bullshit, you know, like, oh, he said he was gonna rape me, you know, these kind of things. Like, there's no turnover in the federal government, guys. These people, they're living lives of quiet desperation, and they don't know it, right? That's a Thoreau quote. But these people, the idea that just having a job is somehow making it, like it's not, right? The people that I'm talking about here, these H1B visa people, these people want to do this work, right? Their goal in life is to send money back to India. It's to get their family to America, right? So they can have the American dream. They can have the houses. They can have the cars. You know, like, you think Indians don't want Lamborghinis? They do. Like, these people want the same shit. America is the place everybody comes to live the best life possible. And again, watch that movie, The Factory, guys. You'll see this stuff. They show all these Chinese guys coming in training the Americans. Well, the Americans would like take them to their home. The Chinese people would then take the Americans back to China and show them how they live. And it was this like cross-cultural kind of thing. And it's crazy, guys. America is a dying country. You know, not because we're not the greatest place on earth. We are. This is the place to come if you want to be good, if you want to be great. This is where you come. But if you're mediocre, it doesn't work anymore. Like, companies aren't putting up with this shit anymore. The only place you're going to work is the federal government, or you can go to school, or you can go on welfare, right? Because people with all the money, they're like, fuck it. We don't want to hire these people. Let them go on welfare. I'll pay the taxes. Just keep them away from my company. I don't want them fucking anything up. Right? Whereas we need to change that culture where it's the people say, hey, I don't have a job. I don't have any skills. Like, I fucked up. I need to go learn how to do something. What kind of jobs, what kind of businesses are around you? There should be a Rolodex of places where, again, underserved, underprivileged, people that just didn't take the right path can go to work, right? Or at least can apply to start up a program to work with the company where they can learn some real skills. Because I'm telling you guys, when people go and take these bullshit jobs, I see them all the time. Everyone's a fucking cook, right? Uber driver. I see that all the time. Amazon worker, okay, guys? These jobs, every day that you do these jobs, you're wasting your life. Because when you put that on your resume to your next job, nobody gives a fuck. And that's what you need to be thinking about. That's the stuff that really matters. When someone looks at your resume, when someone looks at what you've done, you should be proud of what you've done, right? If you're 40 years old, you better not have more than 4 or 5 jobs in your resume, because it means that you're a good employee. You know, it means you like what you did. The people that you work for liked you, right? You liked the environment. You weren't a problem to the culture. And we got a lot of that today, a ton of it. you know? So anyway, I wrote down some notes here on the back. I'm gonna go over a few things here, and then I think that'll probably conclude my talk for the night. So this is something that just, it pains me as someone who never graduated high school. Like, I want more people to be able to make it in life. And again, everybody bitches about the cost of everything, right? Fucking everybody bitches about the cost of everything. Like, I haven't looked at prices in fucking a decade. I don't look at the price of nothing. I don't give a fuck what it costs. It doesn't matter. What am I gonna do, not have it? I don't even look. It doesn't matter. It just is what it is, right? So one other thing I want to talk about here. Let's see here. Companies say, give me 1 second. Resist relocation, okay? This is another thing. I had to move 5 times in my life, I think. That's 5 different states, right? There was Oregon, there was Kansas, there was Oklahoma, there was Georgia, there was Missouri, and now there's Illinois, okay? You have to move, guys. You have to be willing to go where the work is. And if you're good at what you do, guess what? You can go to the places where the best people are, right? So, quick story. I got into, I grew up, family had a cabinet shop, a very, whatever, like $40,000 a year cabinet shop. It wasn't very much money at all, but it was a cabinet shop. And the prospects for work in Corvallis, Oregon weren't good if you didn't have a degree, right? The main employers there are Hewlett-Packard and Oregon State University, right? And so if you're gonna make a bunch of money, you had to have a degree, you had to like college, blah, 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 blah. I hated all that shit, right? So I got an opportunity to go to Kansas, right? Who the fuck wants to move to Kansas? I lived in Oregon, right? Where I used to go elk hunting and I used to go spring Chinook salmon fishing. Like, I used to go to the lakes and go boating. Like, this was my life. But in order to do what it is that I wanted to do, I had to move to Kansas because that's where the opportunity was. And so that's what I did. I piled all, and I'm shit you guys out. I'm not exaggerating one bit, okay? I drove a 1990 Mazda Miata. Okay, I bought this car because the woman that I wanted to bang's dad was selling it. That's why I bought it. I bought it just so I could have sex with her. I ended up marrying her, so I ended up working out. So I got the sex and I got the wife, the whole 9 yards. That was a long time ago. I'm not married to that woman now. I can tell you guys some great stories about that. But anyway, point is that I packed all my shit into a 1990 Mazda Miata. Okay, I had a fucking computer monitor. I built my own computer, so I had a computer tower. I had an Ibanez guitar in a guitar case, and I had some clothes. And I stuffed all that shit in that little car. I think I might have had like $500 to my name. I didn't have a ton of money, and I piled my car. I never even pumped gas, guys. I want to say I was 21 years old at this point. I never pumped gas because you can't pump your own gas in Oregon. So I'm driving out of Oregon. First time I think I'd ever driven out of Oregon in my life by myself. Driving out to Oregon, going through Utah, Rocky Mountains, all this kind of stuff, learning to pump gas, which sounds ridiculous to people, but I was kind of scared, to be honest with you. But that's what I did. I moved to fucking Kansas to take a job, right? And I was there for 3 months. The company got bought out. The company was called Baumhoff. The company got bought out by a company called Nordam, and they laid us all off. They laid off everybody, and they only hired back the people that they wanted to hire back, which are basically the people with experience and the people that had been there for a long time. And I was neither. I was a fresh cabinet maker, had almost no experience with the company because I just moved there for the job. And so I had no fucking job. I just moved from Oregon out to Kansas, right? So getting the newspaper, I think it was called the Eagle Gazette or the Eagle Times or something like that. It's the local Wichita, Kansas paper there. And there was a company there called Global Engineering that was looking for cabinet makers, furniture makers. The thing they were specifically looking for was people that had experience working with laminate, and I had a shit ton of experience working with laminate because every desk that I had made as a young furniture maker, every dwarf bookcase that I made, they all had laminate on them, and a forest green laminate, man. My hands are probably still green from that shit. But I know how to work with laminate. So I responded to the ad. I made a telephone call, email, whatever I did. And then a guy, his name was Scott something. I still kind of remember his name to this day. He called me back and I told him what I did. He says, great, man. Why don't you come on in? I got the job over the phone. But here's the thing, guys. So I packed all that shit and I moved here to Kansas. Well, I didn't have any tools. I didn't know that you had to have your own tools. So I had to go buy a bunch of tools. I had no fucking money, guys. So I had to borrow some money from my parents. And I went and I bought a bunch of cheap tools. I had a whole list of tools for basically newbie furniture makers, which is what I'm always talking about. We need businesses that want to hire new people, young people, People that don't have experience but are curious about the work, are excited to do the work, have an interest in making shit. This company took a chance on me, gave me a job, right? I started out making, I want to say I made something like 10 bucks an hour. It was not fantastic money in 2001, but it was fine. It got me in the door. Well, I was making aviation furniture, and that led me all over the place. I went everywhere after that and turned that little tiny situation where I moved from Oregon out to Kansas, I turned that into a career of moving around chasing aviation jobs to where I finally got to work for a company called Gulfstream, which is the creme de la creme of aviation. It's the pinnacle of aviation. It's the best of the best. They have the best facilities, the best pay, the best benefits, the best reputation, the best of everything. And it was fucking amazing, guys. It was amazing working for that giant corporation who's owned by a company called General Dynamics. You got to look it up. They're a massive defense contractor. They own Gulfstream. So it was a great job, and moving around was fine. It was scary and it sucked, but I was willing to relocate anytime a new opportunity presented itself. Whatever I had to do, I was going to move. And I can talk about stories of moving to Kansas and moving to Georgia and all these kind of things, but the point is that I did what had to be done, and we got a lot of people that aren't willing to do that, or they can't do it, and we got to fix that. People got to be willing to go where the work is, and people got to be willing to, be nimble. And yeah, that's a big thing. So I'm gonna go through my notes real quick, and then I think I can probably end this discussion. Top note I wrote down was government employs too many people. Okay, the government employs 3 million people, guys. These are people that you and I pay for, right? And it's not like these are the best of the best. Okay, they're not. They're fucking mediocre as it gets. They meet the criteria for whatever a government employee is, and you and I are paying for them. 3 million of them. Okay, so your taxes are never going to go down. Your expenses for the federal government are never going to go down if we keep fucking hiring people like this. Okay, we don't need half the federal government, guys. Like I'm telling you, if it's just about Medicare and Social Security, these kind of benefits, like you don't need a massive department to administer those dollars. Trust me, you don't. Like the government's only good at one thing, that's spending money, right? So let's see here. Let's see, do not, again, the federal government, they don't have to compete with anybody. It's not like somebody can come in and say, well, you know what, I'm gonna fucking do the taxes. I got a much better tax system, right? The IRS wants to do it, I'll do it for half of what the IRS did. I got all this technology, and oh yeah, maybe I'll farm it out to another country, and they're gonna do it for cheap, whatever. Like, I don't know, but there's no conversation like that. This is the reason that Elon Musk and SpaceX fucking annihilated NASA. They made NASA look so horrible because NASA literally was around for like 60 years, and the greatest thing they ever did was go to the moon, right? So supposedly, we don't know. That's all they did. And getting into space was like pulling teeth. It was fucking impossible for these people to get into space. Required massive, months of turnaround, refueling rockets, making sure the rockets are rebuilt, all this shit. Elon Musk, within 10 years, is basically coming down and going back up the same day, for like 1/10 of the cost, right? This is what we have to have in everything today if we're going to get people to be good, right? You think Elon Musk has trouble finding good talent? People would go work for that guy for free because of how exciting it is to do the work that guy does. Nobody goes to work for the federal government because they're fucking excited about going to work at the federal government. It's just, it just isn't like that. Like, you have to do something that's exciting, guys. You have to, and this is the thing about companies, right? Like, when you guys go look at my company, like I'm a furniture company, right? But what makes my furniture company special, and I can brag about it, is we have one of the finest high gloss lacquered coatings in the industry. It's beautiful. You can, do your makeup in it, perfect reflection. It takes a lot of work. It's very expensive, but it's amazing. Like, finding people to build that furniture, quite difficult, right? Finding people that want to paint that furniture, kind of difficult. But guess what? I have no trouble finding customers. Everybody is excited to buy my furniture because it's one of a kind. It's beautiful. It's exceptional, right? And again, anybody that wants to paint furniture, wants to make furniture, can compete with me. It's not that hard to start a furniture company. Most people start at their garage, right? I mean, how many fucking people on YouTube are just making content on YouTube about how great their furniture is? They're just basically making it in their garage. Like it's not that hard. Federal government has zero competition. And this is, again, these people do not have to get better at anything. All they got to do is fucking show up. That's it. And they'll get a paycheck. They'll get a COLA raise every year. If the cost of insurance goes up, the federal government will cut it. We'll pay for it because it's not their fucking money. It's your money. And then no one ever says, well, no, you can't have any more money. Like, we're tapped out. There's no more money for you. Whoa, we got to hire more people. Like, do you really need to hire more people? You tell me we can't cut the federal government 3 million people down to maybe 1 million? Like, anyway, so I wrote that down. Talking about H1, I guess we were talking about the H1B visas. So USCIS approved 400,000 visas last year. 200,000 of those were from India. So there's a lot of H1B visas that come in from other countries like Singapore and even China. A lot of people come in to do jobs that, again, a lot of times Americans just don't want to do those jobs. And I'm here to tell you guys that Americans could do those jobs. There's nothing that an American cannot do, right? It's not that we're not intelligent. It's not that we don't have the technology, we don't have access to resources. We have everything. We just don't have the will to do the work. You know, and again, I say this as someone who never graduated high school. And I see it every day, guys. There's so much fucking mediocrity now. It's just, it blows my mind. I've given, you know how many people I've given over the years opportunities to become furniture makers, to become painters, to work with a company that actually likes its employees, right? Where you get to have a rapport with the bosses all the time. It's not just, you're not just a number, you're a fucking person, you know? They don't want it. They don't want it. They just want money, guys. They just want money. They just want to consume and buy shit. They don't want to actually get good at anything. They don't want to earn that money. And if you try and tell them, you know what, dude, you're worth like $8 an hour. They're like, oh, I'm worth $25 an hour. They can't even show up every day of the week, you know. Can't get them off their fucking phones. You know, the disconnect between how the world operates and how America operates is way out of whack. We think that we are, you know, got the big swinging dick. And the truth is the rest of the world's eating our fucking lunch, guys. You know, so until we get a class of people that really want to work hard and really want to do really well, it's just going to be the tech bros sucking up all the money and not training anybody, right? They're gonna bring in all the people to work at their companies because Americans aren't worth training anymore. They're not worth hiring anymore because they don't really want to learn. They don't want to do the work. They're not passionate about it. They just want to make money. They don't want to get good at something. I'm here to tell you guys, the money comes when you get really fucking good at what you do. You're undeniable. The money is undeniable. The money will follow you the better you get at something, you know. But if you get good at something that everybody else is good at, good luck, you know, because that means you have to be that much better than everybody else, right? If you're competing with 10 million other people with a fucking business degree, you better be pretty exceptional, right? But if you're an exceptional furniture maker, what are there? 50,000 furniture makers in America? And oh yeah, it's an awesome job. You do got to breathe some dust, and it is kind of noisy, and not always have the best climate control. Things are kind of heavy, you know, but you'll be all right. You'll be a little bit sore, you know, every now and again, but, you know, man up a little bit. It'd be good for you. So I wrote down, India has an entire culture dedicated to training IT workers and management workers, okay? The entire country of India, their job is to get their citizens to America to make money, okay? In America, do you think we have that? Do we have a culture of people who are just looking to get the skills that they need so they can move to Venezuela? It doesn't work that way, guys. It's not how it works. And again, we think that because we're Americans, that we're just fucking entitled to, you know, great wage, cars, houses, insurance, you know, whatever that might be that you want. And a lot of people just think they're entitled to it. And I'm here to tell you guys that you're not. Like, you get what you give, you know, and a lot of people say, well, I give 40 hours a week. I give this, I get that. Like, you don't give what you think you give, right? And the way that you know that is ask somebody to critique you, right? Go find someone that is not in your circle and ask them to critique what it is that you do. You know, are you really exceptional at what you do? Someone will tell you. They will know what you do. They will give you an honest assessment of how you are performing in the world. You know, I think there's anybody in this fucking world that would look at what I've done, the kind of furniture that I make, the business that we have, and say, oh, yeah, that Eric, he's fucking pretty mediocre. You know, it's like, yeah. Grew up in a, I guess it was a double wide trailer, you know. Figured it out, guys. Living in the sticks of Corvallis, Oregon. Somehow figured it out to live in the bluffs here on the Mississippi River, you know. I think I employ like 10, 11 people at this point, you know. Again, it's not a brag. I'm not rich by any means. I think I got $3,000 in my bank account right now. Like, I'm not rich, but I don't worry about money, right? My business makes good money. My wife's happy. Kids all got what they need, you know. It's like, we got enough. We don't worry about that shit. But everybody knows what we do at the Resplendent Crow. We are a fantastic company. We make exceptional products, products that nobody else makes. That's why we have a business, because it's hard, okay? All right, last couple things here. So I said India has an entire culture of IT and management graduates, right? They have basically, if you are not a doctor, if you're not an attorney, if you're not an IT worker, or if you're, what's the other one? There's one other one. If you're not an engineer. In India, you are a fucking loser, guys. So how's that work in America? Right? When is it okay to say to another person, you know what, you're a fucking loser, man. Like, get your shit together. You know, when are we allowed to say that? Because over there, they say that all the time. And what's happened is you have entire casts of people that all they want to do is do the jobs that are needed here in America. And America is importing all those workers because you can't do it in America. For whatever reason, people don't want to do that work. I don't know why. You know, I can find fun in anything. You want to give me a computer job? I'll find fun in a computer job. You want to give me a job where all I do is work outside all the time? I will find something to like about that job. For whatever reason, people don't want to do this work. You know, so H1B visas, guys, as far as the eye can see, you know, until we're willing to do this kind of stuff. So what's America's culture for? What do we do? You know, if India has a massive, you know, ecosystem of people that just train these kind of workers to go to America. China has the same thing, by the way. Where's our industry that trains people to be better? Where's our industry that trains people to go work in other countries, right? So we have this thing called the academic system, right? The academic system has fucked over so many people. The academic system is 20 years of screwing people left and right. 20 years, guys. If it wasn't for the federal government backing those loans, the academic system would be a quarter of what it is today. More businesses would hire people directly out of high school. You wouldn't have generations of kids that were fucked up by their parents and told that, oh, you just got to go to school. Go to school. Well, I don't know what I want to do. It doesn't matter. Go to school. Meanwhile, had these kids went and come work for a company like mine, spent 4 years helping me, they would have probably made whatever, $200,000, no debt, had a skill, worked for a company that generally likes its people, you know, and they'd have job security. Like, it doesn't make any sense, you know. And the corporation said, well, yeah, we're going to hire all these graduates. Well, what they were doing is they were selecting the best. That's all they were doing. And meanwhile, everyone was told, well, if I go to school, I'm smart. Like, no, you're not. College does not make people smart, okay? The people in India that want to be in IT, that want to get to America, those people are smart because they have the incentive to be smart. They know that if they get their education in IT, they're going to make it to America. And guess what? They go from making $20,000 a year to making $100,000 a year overnight. Okay? That's how it works, guys. We don't do that. We don't think, you know, like, I'm going to go work for, you know, a furniture company, right? When I'm 18 years old, go learn how to make furniture so that, yeah, the first year I'm making $32,000 a year, but by year 4, I'm making $70,000, $80,000 a year, right? They don't think like that. We've indoctrinating these kids. The hell, the parents have been indoctrinated at this point. And it's just this self-fulfilling prophecy. The companies don't want the college graduates. They're just bringing in the illegal immigrants. They're bringing in the first, second generation immigrants. They're bringing in the H1B people. They're bringing in anybody they can to do this work because Americans don't want to do the work. They don't want to learn to do the work. It's not that they can't. Americans can absolutely do all this work. They don't want to. And so the company's like, fuck it. We're not going to hire you guys. You know, y'all can go on welfare. You can go work for the federal government, but you're not going to come work for us. You're too much of a distraction, right? There's too much uncertainty to take a chance on you. And this is the thing that I'm talking about. There should be a program where, again, kids coming straight out of high school, hell, kids that are in high school can go to work for local businesses, small businesses, medium businesses, large businesses, and you learn to work while you're in school. You know, the company's going to get a little bit of a tax cut. The employee's going to make some money. They're going to get some job skills. And then the employer and the employee, the high school student, can figure out if that's a good thing. Does the high school student really even want to do this kind of work, right? You have to come up with something that gets these kids excited about doing something other than going to fucking school, okay? You can't just send people to school constantly. Because guess what? If I had a choice between making furniture and going fucking partying at school, going to, you know, Sigma Delta Kappa at the fucking wave pool, guess what I'm doing? I'm going to school too. You know, so you get what you incentivize. And we incentivized a bunch of kids to go to school so they didn't have to go into the workforce. Now they got to go into the workforce and they're like, oh, this fucking blows. And then the employers are saying, oh, these employees, man, these kids are fucked up. They don't have any skills. They don't even like working. You know, we've all seen the TikTok videos of the girls that go into work and they first thing you do is they scan their badge in, and then they go get breakfast, and then maybe they log in on their computer, you know, and then they're doing, maybe they'll go to the cafe, get a coffee, or do a little bit of yoga. Like, this shit is wild. It's wild. This isn't real life. This isn't how work really works. And the people that promote this kind of stuff, you're doing a massive disservice to everybody, guys. So anyway, that's kind of my talk for the day. We don't have a ton of comments. You know, I think people just kind of listen to me rant at this point. We got a lot of people in the feed. Hit the like button, add discussion. If you guys have any quick comments, you want to go back and forth, lots of things, throw them in there. And if not, we can do another conversation later. But this topic is very important to me because, again, I want people coming out of high school to learn what it is to work. I want people going to job sites. I want people, whatever, going to grocery stores. Like, it sounds a little bit hoity-toity or like utopia type shit, but we need to get back to that, guys. Like, I'm sorry. Like, we need to get back. This idea that you could just go to school and not have a job. Like, when the fuck did people start just going to school? Like, what do you mean you're just in school? What job do you have? Well, I don't work. I'm a full-time student. There's no such thing as a full-time student. College is the easiest thing in the world. Like, there's no challenge there, guys. I mean, I know people got fucking master's degrees. Like, they've been in school for 8-10 years. And for what? For what? What do you do? They don't have any jobs. It's just their job is to go to school. And you have at this point, you have generations of people, you know, moms and daughters, dads and sons, that's what they do. They just go and they just jerk off at school for as long as they possibly can, you know, and then they hope that the taxpayer is going to pay for it. Or maybe they'll get some grants, right? The federal government loves giving out grants and scholarships to all these people because they're going to be the future, right? They're going to be super smart, and they're going to lead to the next whatever AI thing, whatever the hell it is that these kids do. The truth is that these companies are just hiring everybody but Americans, you know, and it's a damn shame, you know. It really bugs me. Like, I've said this many times. Like, we got 3 kids. None of our kids want anything to do with our business. Nothing. I don't know. I don't know how you fix that. Like, I don't know where I know where the brainwashing comes from, but I don't know if they can be convinced to be the second generation of the resplendent crone. You know, even with all their degrees and their, wisdom, no jobs, but lots of degrees. I don't know if that'll happen, and I said it many times, like, it's the only thing in my life that I've left to really get done. Like, I've got to figure out how to get these kids to get passionate about what it is that we do here, because I want our clients to be buying stuff from my wife's daughter, right? I think that is just, like, in my mind, it's kind of like a storybook, it's kind of, I don't want to call it soft or whatever, but I like that idea. I like the idea of our daughter contacting clients calling us, hey, where's Suchetta? Like, no, it's just so-and-so. I'm doing it now. My mom's doing this or whatever. Like, I love that idea, or hey, you know what? Like, Eric normally builds the furniture, but guess what? His son's going to do it, and he's taking over and he's learning to be the next furniture. And the stuff that I think about is like, if you guys, everyone kind of knows who Eddie Van Halen is. And Eddie Van Halen had a son named, I think his name's like Wolfgang. I don't know what his guys' these freaking names. But anyway, fantastic musician, fantastic guitar player, followed in his father's footsteps, and it's a great story, and I want more of that to happen today, and again, if it's not my kids, then I want it to be other kids. I want other young people to come into our business and learn what it is to work hard, to learn what it is to create something and then watch somebody receive the thing that you created and damn near faint. To, basically, you don't know if they're, overjoyed, if they're having an orgasm, you have no idea. Like, that kind of experience makes it all worthwhile, because these people, they just love buying the furniture. The response that you get when people see what you've made for them, it can't be replicated by anything. It's really cool. It's very genuine, and it's amazing. And we got to get more kids to be able to do this. We got to get more people to know what this is like and experience this, because it's not always about just making money. But if you go to college, you wait till you're 30 years old to get your shit together. it might be too late in many cases. You know, you fucked up. You know, you 24 jobs. You know, maybe you got 5 kids. You know, whatever. Like tons of debt. You know, you just dig yourself a crazy hole. And again, the people that come in from India, they got none of that. You know, they got none of these problems. You know, you think the guy from India is going to go to his boss and complain about home problems? Like, fucking families in India. You know, I got people that come in and bitch about their home problems all the time. You know, it's like they live right down the street. You know, so we as a country and as a workforce have got to get on par with where the rest of the world is, because we used to be the top, but we created good times created weak people, and guess what, guys? Hard times are coming. You know, and I hope that doesn't happen, but I'm not too worried about it. Like, people buy my furniture, people love my furniture, people buy my furniture in recessions, people buy my furniture when times are good. Rich people always got money, guys, and guess what? They're only making more of them. They're making more rich people and they're making more poor people. So I got more customers every day of the week. You know? So anyway, guys, you have a fantastic time. And again, hope you guys like the discussion, like what we talked about tonight. And I appreciate everyone hanging out and in spending the time, because it means a lot. I like doing these discussions. And I don't know what the hell we'll talk about later, but I'm sure there'll be some great topics. So